Have you ever wondered what happens when hatred collides with love? When a powerful, arrogant man must face the woman whose life he once destroyed? Alex Turner, a cold-hearted billionaire, accepts a strange challenge: to marry Emily Hart, his former business rival whom he ruthlessly drove into bankruptcy. This marriage is just a 6-month bet, a game where he intends to prove his control. But little does he know, Emily is fully aware of his scheme and has her own plans for a quiet, calculated revenge. How will this story unfold? Can Alex maintain his power over the woman who endured his cruelty? Or will Emily succeed in making him taste the bitterness of loss? What will they learn from each other in 6 intense months where the line between hate and love begins to blur? Join us on this journey of unexpected twists. And if you're captivated by stories of rivalry, redemption, and the power of love, don't forget to like, share, and comment with your thoughts. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any updates. Let's dive deep into this unforgettable story together. That night, in the heart of bustling New York City, an opulent charity event was being held in one of the city's tallest skyscrapers. The rooftop of the building was the exclusive venue for a gathering of the city's elite, those in the highest social circles and the most powerful business leaders. The setting was beautifully adorned with golden lights, white linens on the tables, and hundreds of bottles of fine wine. The atmosphere was filled with soft classical music, mingling with the laughter, clinking glasses, and refined conversations of successful and distinguished guests. Among this refined crowd, Alex Turner made his entrance, immediately drawing attention. He was one of the most famous businessmen in the city, the owner of a financial empire stretching across the United States. With his dapper appearance in a sleek black suit and his cold, piercing gaze, Alex exuded a power and confidence that made others turn their heads. From across the room, his close friend, Robert, a skilled investor, noticed Alex's arrival and quickly made his way over. Robert knew Alex was not one to attend charity events often. Whenever Alex made an appearance at gatherings like this, there was always a specific reason, and Robert, with his naturally curious nature, wanted to find out what it was. As Alex approached the bar, Robert was already waiting, holding a glass of red wine. He smiled, raised his glass, and said, "Alex, what a surprise to see you here. What brings someone as busy as you to a charity event tonight?" Alex responded with a slight smirk, raising his glass in return, and replied calmly, "Nothing special. Just felt like a change of atmosphere. Sometimes even work needs a little break. Don't you think?" Robert laughed, shaking his head in disbelief. "There's no way you're just here to relax. Don't forget I've known you for a long time. You never do anything without a clear purpose." Alex didn't respond right away. He simply took a sip of wine, his gaze drifting off into the distance. Robert had been a close friend since their university days. They had shared countless enjoyable moments, grand ambitions, and the desire to build successful careers. While both had achieved success, their personalities were now very different. Alex was tough, cold, and willing to do anything to achieve his goals, while Robert tended to be more balanced, maintaining an equilibrium between work and personal life. As they conversed, Robert couldn't resist bringing up Alex's recent corporate takeover. The incident had sparked quite a bit of criticism from competitors and the media alike. It was a controversial acquisition, where Alex had used clever tactics to seize control of a female competitor's company, forcing her to accept defeat and abandon her career. Her name, Emily Hart, had been a topic of conversation in business circles for a long time. "Do you ever think you might go too far with your work, Alex?" Robert asked bluntly. "I heard that in your recent takeover, you practically destroyed a talented woman's career. Don't you feel the least bit of regret?" Alex shrugged, his expression icy and unwavering. "In business, there's no room for weakness or pity. The strong survive. You should know that." Robert could only sigh. He wasn't surprised by Alex's answer. However, deep down, he felt a twinge of regret for Alex, a talented friend who placed power and success above all else. At that moment, a bold idea came to Robert's mind. He decided to challenge Alex, to see if his friend could overcome his own ego. "So, let me ask you something, Alex," Robert began, his tone carrying a hint of challenge. Are you willing to step outside your comfort zone and try something truly different? Something I bet you wouldn't be able to handle? Alex raised an eyebrow, showing a spark of curiosity. What are you suggesting? With a sly smile, Robert continued. Why don't you try marrying a woman who doesn't fit your type? And better yet, someone who's been your adversary in the past? For example, Emily Hart. Marry her for 6 months and see if you can get through it without turning it into a battle. Alex's expression immediately changed. The idea of marrying Emily Hart, his former business rival, was truly beyond his imagination. Emily was someone he'd once considered a loser and weak. He had ruthlessly destroyed her company. And since then, he had never imagined she could become a part of his life, even if only for 6 months. You're crazy. Robert, why would I do that? Alex laughed, trying to mask his surprise. Robert didn't back down, maintaining his serious expression, because it would be the biggest challenge of your life. Alex, for once, you'd have to live without relying on power, and instead face a woman who can challenge everything you believe and possess. I bet 6 months with her would change you. A strange thrill surged through Alex. He was someone who loved challenges and rarely turned down a bet. His confidence, arrogance, and massive ego wouldn't let him refuse the proposal. He convinced himself that this was just another game to satisfy his ego, a chance to prove he could conquer anyone, even a woman who had once been his rival. All right, Robert, I accept, Alex declared, his eyes gleaming with a defiant spark. 6 months with Emily Hart. But remember, I will control this game, and in the end, she'll have to submit to me. Robert simply smiled, saying nothing more. Deep down, he hoped that these 6 months would be more than just a challenge, that they might also be an opportunity for Alex to change. Could his billionaire friend learn to see things from another person's perspective, even from someone he had once inflicted so much harm upon? The bet was accepted. Neither Alex nor Robert knew that what lay ahead would change Alex's life forever. Everything had begun, and the 6-month marriage with Emily Hart would be far more than a simple wager. The clash of pride, hidden resentment, and emotions that had never been expressed between them would set off an unexpected and emotional journey. Stepping into one of New York's most luxurious restaurants, Alex Turner exuded an air of pride and confidence. From the sparkling crystal chandeliers to the black velvet seats, every detail in the restaurant spoke of elegance and exclusivity. Each table was meticulously arranged with crisp white linens, crystal wine glasses, and fresh flower arrangements changed daily. Alex chose a table at the center, allowing him to survey the entire scene around him. He sat with a straight posture, dressed in a tailored suit that embodied his powerful, refined image. In Alex's mind, everything was meticulously set up to perfection. This would be a meeting where he could control every element, from the setting to the person across from him. As Alex waited for Emily, he recalled the conversation with Robert about the daring bet. He remembered Robert's challenging look when his friend suggested Alex try marrying a woman who wasn't his type, and even better, an opponent he had once crushed. To Alex, this was not just a wager, but a test of his power. Emily Hart, he murmured her name, with a hint of arrogance in his eyes. In Alex's memory, Emily was a stubborn woman who had once dared to compete with him, only to ultimately lose. He wondered whether she still carried that confidence or had grown weaker after losing her company to him. Taking a sip of his red wine, Alex's gaze drifted towards the restaurant entrance. He was ready for the meeting, eager to see how Emily would react when she realized the proposal was merely part of his power play. Just as Alex began feeling that he had everything under control, the restaurant doors opened, and Emily stepped inside. She had chosen an elegant yet simple dress that gave her a composed and confident look. Her every step reflected self-assurance and strength, a far cry from someone recently stripped of her achievements. When Alex saw her, he was taken aback. He had expected a woman who would arrive feeling intimidated or, at the very least, a bit uncertain before him. Instead, Emily entered with a calm expression and unwavering gaze, momentarily unsettling him. Emily scanned the room and immediately recognized Alex sitting in the center. Without a hint of hesitation, she walked towards him, appearing unfazed by the opulent surroundings or the powerful man waiting for her. She stopped in front of him, giving a slight, polite smile. "Alex Turner, it's been a while." Alex stood up, responding with a courteous yet prideful smile. "Emily Hart, I must say, I'm surprised you accepted this proposal." The two sat down and began their conversation. Alex maintained his composure, but Emily's piercing gaze made him realize she wouldn't be easily subdued. Emily opened with a hint of sarcasm, a subtle challenge that Alex did not overlook. "Alex, I'm well aware you're not someone to easily make marriage proposals, especially to someone like me," Emily remarked with a slight smirk. "There must be a special reason behind this game of yours." Alex raised an eyebrow, trying to conceal his surprise at her directness. He took another sip of his wine, looking at her with a subtle challenge. "So, what do you think of this proposal?" Emily kept her gaze steady, her tone unwavering. "I don't believe this proposal is rooted in romance, and I have no illusions about that. But if you've decided to turn this into a game, I'm willing to play along on one condition." Alex smirked, appearing unbothered. "And what's your condition?" Emily leaned slightly forward, her gaze firm. "I'll agree to this 6-month marriage, but I'll retain my independence and personal life. You have no right to interfere in my work or in anything I'm rebuilding. I don't need your money, and I don't need your status." Alex was momentarily taken aback but soon regained his smile. "All right, but I have one condition of my own. You'll have to accompany me to every social event, playing the role of my wife." Emily was silent for a moment, considering his words. She understood that this would benefit Alex, but it was also an opportunity for her to understand him more closely. "Fine, I'll appear alongside you. But remember, this is only an act, nothing more." After Emily left, Alex sat alone, finishing his glass of wine. The meeting hadn't gone as he'd anticipated. He had come prepared to control everything, but Emily's confidence and unyielding attitude left him feeling slightly unsettled. This was the first time a woman had dared to set her own terms and refused to submit to him. Alex realized that Emily might not be an easy pawn in this game. But instead of feeling troubled, he felt exhilarated. Deep down, he was intrigued by the challenge Emily posed, which only made the game more thrilling. The meeting concluded with an agreement between Alex and Emily. They entered into a 6-month marriage with vastly different intentions. Alex sought to assert his power and control, while Emily joined the game with a firm resolve to protect her life and career. Neither trusted the other, and both viewed the marriage as a silent battle. After their initial meeting, Alex arranged a formal appointment with Emily in his private office to go over the details of the marriage contract. His office was lavishly decorated with high-end wood furnishings and large glass windows that offered sweeping views of New York City. This was the space where he conducted business and entertained important partners, a place where he could feel his authority radiating through every corner. As Emily entered the office, Alex stood to greet her, his gaze filled with pride. He was confident that this time, in his own space, he would hold the upper hand. Yet, Emily walked in with poise and calm, showing no signs of hesitation. She sat down across from him with an unwavering air of confidence, fully prepared for a negotiation that would pull no punches. Alex initiated the discussion in a steady tone, though laced with an underlying sense of dominance. He laid out the conditions for their 6-month marriage, explaining that it would be a marriage in name only, where both of them would need to appear together in public and social events. The main purpose, he asserted, was to bolster his image in the eyes of the public and the media. "You'll accompany me as my wife at every important social event," Alex said, his voice calm but assertive. "I want everyone to see us as the perfect couple, and it'll only last for 6 months. After that, we'll go our separate ways, with no obligations or interference in each other's lives." Alex made it clear that this marriage was purely a tool to strengthen his reputation. He also emphasized that Emily would have no rights to his assets or any power within his company, and that her role was simply that of a companion at events. Listening to Alex's demands, Emily remained composed, yet her eyes held a steely resolve. She knew that this marriage wasn't about love or commitment, but rather a power game. However, she wasn't someone who would accept any conditions without setting terms of her own. Looking straight at Alex, Emily stated, "I'll agree to accompany you at every event, but I won't sacrifice my independence. I have my own work, my own life, and my own goals. You have no right to interfere in any of that. Emily asserted that she would retain control over her personal life. She wasn't willing to let this fabricated marriage or Alex's ambitions use her as a pawn. Alex was taken aback by Emily's firmness. He had expected her to easily accept his terms, but her confidence and resolve surprised him. To him, this marriage was merely a part of a game, yet Emily seemed to have a deeper purpose he couldn't quite decipher. In Alex's mind, he wondered if Emily truly understood her position. He still believed that power was in his hands and that she was merely trying to save face. However, the challenge in Emily's eyes intrigued him. "Fine," Alex said, with a slight smirk. "If you want to keep your independence, I'll respect that. But remember, in the public eye, we still need to look like the perfect married couple." After agreeing on the basic conditions, the two began to go over the finer details of the contract. The contract explicitly stated that they would live together in a house Alex had prepared, but each would have their own separate space. Emily also insisted that neither party would interfere in the other's personal relationships during the marriage. "You're not allowed to control or monitor any of my personal activities outside of public events," Emily emphasized, her gaze unwavering. Alex nodded in agreement, though he couldn't help but feel slightly uncomfortable. He wasn't used to having conditions set on him, especially by someone like Emily, whom he had once defeated. After signing the contract, Alex leaned back in his chair, looking at Emily with a mix of challenge and curiosity. He felt that this marriage wouldn't simply be a power game anymore. It could very well become a real challenge to his ego. Inside, Alex felt a strange sense of excitement. In the past, everything in his life had been under his control, but Emily's resolute attitude made her seem like a formidable opponent. He wanted to see if he could truly control this game, or if he would end up caught in a storm of his own making. The meeting concluded with a meaningful handshake between Alex and Emily. They left the office, each carrying their own thoughts about this unusual arrangement. Both knew this marriage held no love or commitment, only a performance. But deep down, they were both aware that the next 6 months would be anything but simple. After signing the marriage contract, Emily moved into Alex's luxurious mansion. The house was designed in a modern style, with open spaces and high-end furnishings that radiated wealth and power. Every detail, from the spacious living room and open kitchen to the opulent bedrooms, was refined but also cold and devoid of warmth. Right from the start, Emily felt like a guest in this mansion. She brought only a few personal items, a couple of outfits, a few books, and a small framed family photo. The way she kept her things seemed to signal she had no intention of staying long. Alex, accustomed to having full control over everything in his house, sensed this distance as well. Emily was not someone he could easily manage, and this subtle tension began to fill the home. While both understood that this was a temporary arrangement, living together began to reveal friction in the smallest of matters. Alex had a habit of arranging everything meticulously, from the layout of items in the fridge to the way books were organized in the study. He liked having things precisely his way and controlled even the smallest details of the house. However, Emily was not someone who would easily conform to those rules. She had her own preferences and didn't want anyone dictating how she should live. For instance, when Alex asked her to organize the books in the study by subject, Emily deliberately organized them by color instead. When Alex noticed, he couldn't hide his frustration, leading to a tense argument. "I asked that we organize them by subject. It makes them easier to find," Alex said, his tone stern. "That's your preference, but I find this way just as practical. I don't follow your rules just because this is your house," Emily retorted, her gaze defiant. These kinds of disagreements didn't end quickly, but left a lingering tension in the air. Both were firm in their views, and neither was willing to compromise. Alex grew increasingly frustrated by Emily's resolve. He began establishing unspoken rules in the hope that she would follow them. Each morning, as they met in the dining room, Alex tried to steer the conversation in a way that he could control. However, Emily often responded briefly, sometimes even disregarding him, making him feel shut out of his own plan. At social events or parties, Alex requested that Emily dress according to his standards, elegant and sophisticated to reflect the image of a billionaire's wife. But Emily wasn't hesitant to wear what she preferred, occasionally even going against his wishes just to remind him that she wouldn't submit to his unreasonable demands. Once, at a grand event, Alex had prepared a lavish evening gown for Emily to wear. Instead, she chose a simpler, more understated dress. Upon seeing her, Alex could not mask his irritation. "I had something more appropriate prepared for you. Do you think this is the right look for the party?" Emily smiled, her tone calm but loaded with meaning. "Alex, I'm not a prop to fit your image. I'll dress as I wish, and that doesn't change because we have an arrangement." Her response left Alex both irritated and at a loss for words, reminding him that she wasn't there simply to serve as decoration by his side. Unwilling to yield, Alex began using subtle tactics to make things difficult for Emily, seeing it as a way to assert his control. He would arrange unexpected meetings or events without notice, keeping her constantly on her toes. He would also change the schedule without informing her, forcing her to adjust her personal plans frequently. One time, Alex scheduled a party over the weekend without telling her in advance. As the hour approached, he informed her and asked her to get ready quickly. Emily, though caught off guard, stayed composed, changing quickly and managing to be ready on time, much to Alex's dismay. "Did you think this would bother me?" Emily asked casually as she got in the car with him. "Sometimes a little surprise keeps things interesting," Alex replied with a faint, cold smile. Emily said nothing more, staring out the window. She understood that Alex was trying to unnerve her, but she was determined not to let him shake her resolve. Despite the frequent tension and disagreements, Alex began feeling an unexpected thrill from their confrontations. Emily's resistance to his demands and tactics made him increasingly intrigued by her. He had never met anyone who dared to stand up to him, especially a woman. Emily's strength and resilience made her unlike anyone he'd ever known. "You're quite an interesting challenge, Emily," Alex said one morning as they met in the dining room. "If you need an opponent for entertainment, perhaps you should look elsewhere," Emily replied, not even glancing at him. Although her words were cold, Alex found himself wanting to understand her more deeply. He began to realize that Emily was not just an opponent, but a woman with strong character who could challenge his beliefs. Amid the tense cohabitation, small moments started to build a subtle connection between Alex and Emily. One day, Emily fell ill and couldn't get out of bed in the morning. When Alex found her unwell, he felt an unexpected sense of concern. He brought her some tea and medicine, placing them by her bedside without saying a word. Emily was surprised but accepted them with a slight nod of thanks. For Alex, this gesture was unusual, yet somehow intriguing. One evening, as they both sat in the living room, Alex suddenly asked Emily why she agreed to this marriage. Emily didn't hesitate to open up about her past, about how she once had a company and a thriving career, both of which were destroyed by Alex's takeover. "You think power can control everything? But sometimes it's the source of great loss," Emily said, her gaze carrying bitterness. Her words left Alex momentarily stunned. For the first time, he began reflecting on how his actions impacted others' lives. To him, everything had always been a power game. But for Emily, it had been her life and her career. This conversation forced Alex to confront the reality that he might have caused genuine harm. After some time of living together in an atmosphere of subtle tension, Alex and Emily entered a new phase of their temporary marriage, appearing together at major events. For Alex, this was a chance to affirm his image of power and control in public, and he wanted to make full use of Emily's presence to leave a strong impression. Alex planned a series of important events, including a charity gala and high-profile business conferences, arranging everything meticulously, from their outfits and how they would appear together to the speeches he would give to reinforce his reputation and image. Emily understood that she was merely a companion in this plan, but she decided not to comply entirely. She was willing to fulfill the contractual requirements, but not in a way that meant complete submission. This made Alex feel slightly uneasy, sensing the unexpected challenges that might arise. The charity gala was the first major event where Alex and Emily appeared together as a married couple. The event took place in a luxurious hotel, gathering numerous celebrities and influential figures from business and politics. From the moment they entered the hall, Alex and Emily became the center of attention. Alex wore a classic black suit, exuding confidence and authority. Next to him, Emily also drew admiring glances with her natural beauty and calm demeanor. They made a perfect couple in appearance, though only they knew the tensions hidden behind that facade. While participating in the event, Alex led Emily around, introducing her to important guests and partners, trying to control everything, from how she greeted people to the responses she should give. Emily initially behaved politely and adhered to his cues, but when Alex began over-controlling, she started asserting her own opinions. "Emily, remember to maintain the demeanor of a billionaire's wife. Don't be too blunt," Alex whispered as they approached a group of guests. Emily gave a faint smile, looking at him with a sharp gaze. "I'll maintain my own demeanor, but I'm not a puppet that follows orders," she replied bluntly. Her words caught Alex off guard, but he quickly regained his composure, maintaining his cool exterior to hide his irritation. One of the next events Alex brought Emily to was a business conference that gathered successful entrepreneurs from various sectors. Alex wanted her to attend to solidify his image, but also to introduce her as part of his long-term business plans. During a public panel, when asked about success and its cost, Alex boldly spoke about how he achieved everything with pride. He described his willingness to sacrifice anything to reach his goals, regardless of what he might destroy along the way. Emily sat beside him, listening with astonishment. She couldn't accept Alex's viewpoint. As for her, success wasn't about sacrificing everything. When it was her turn to speak, Emily candidly expressed her opposing perspective, drawing silence and attention from the entire audience. "To me, success isn't just about achieving goals at any cost. Sometimes, preserving one's values and self-worth is more valuable," she stated, her gaze resolute. Alex felt challenged in front of the audience. Emily's words not only expressed a differing opinion, but indirectly criticized his lifestyle and work ethic. He didn't respond immediately and maintained a calm demeanor, though internally he felt a deep discomfort from the loss of control. Though frustrated by Emily's frankness and occasional defiance, Alex couldn't deny that she had begun making him reflect on himself. Each time she confronted him at events, he felt as though he was being forced to reassess the path he'd taken. Alex started feeling an inner conflict. On one hand, he wanted to maintain his image and unchallenged authority. On the other, Emily seemed to open his eyes to a different way of viewing life. He found himself strangely drawn to her independence and strength, qualities he had never encountered in anyone else. One of the final events in the series was a lavish gala where Alex and Emily had to attend to publicly showcase their married life before the media. Alex had meticulously planned every aspect, from how they would appear to a public statement about their marriage. During the gala, as everyone focused their attention on them, Alex took Emily's hand and spoke with pride. "I'm fortunate to have a strong wife who fully supports my career," he said with a confident smile. Emily felt pressured as he intentionally created an image of her as a supportive wife without consulting her. She hesitated briefly before deciding to voice her own thoughts. "Life isn't just about career and power. Sometimes there are other values that we need to cherish," she replied, her gaze challenging. The entire hall fell silent, listening to Emily's statement. Once again, she had openly confronted Alex, leaving him unable to hide his anger. However, instead of reacting immediately, Alex simply gave a cold smile, looking at her as though she were a worthy opponent. After the gala, Alex couldn't stop thinking about Emily's words. For the first time, he felt an emptiness as he realized that his life had revolved solely around power and success, without any true connection. Emily's words had stirred something within him, forcing him to confront the question: was everything he achieved really all there was to life? He began to feel that there was something more than just a power struggle between them. Emily's strength and autonomy made him feel that she might be the person to help him see himself through a different lens, not one of power but of human depth and empathy. After these tense events, Alex realized that he couldn't continue this marriage as merely a power game. He decided to approach Emily with a new perspective, wanting to learn more about her and the values she represented. "Emily, I know we didn't start this marriage out of love or respect, but maybe it's time we reassess things," Alex said during one of their shared moments. Emily, surprised, said nothing but nodded slightly. She understood that Alex was beginning to recognize his changing perspective, and she, too, was willing to see if he could truly change. After the previous tense events and public confrontations, Alex began to see Emily in an entirely new light. She was no longer just a woman in a temporary marriage contract with him, but someone who could challenge and inspire him to reflect on himself. This led him to change his approach, treating Emily with more gentleness and sincerity. Alex began listening more and imposing his will less. Instead of criticizing or trying to control her as before, he began paying attention to Emily's opinions and thoughts. One evening, during dinner, he unexpectedly asked about her life and ambitions. For the first time, he genuinely listened instead of trying to assert his own views. "Emily, I know we've never talked about our personal goals. Would you like to share yours?" Alex asked, his tone surprisingly gentle. Emily was slightly taken aback by Alex's sincere question. She had never expected him to show any interest in her personal life. But after a brief hesitation, she began to share her dreams and aspirations, which had been abandoned when her company was taken over. She spoke of her desire to build a company that created opportunities for people from disadvantaged backgrounds, a dream she had never been able to fulfill. Alex listened silently, and for the first time, he felt the pain and regret in Emily's story. He realized that beneath her strong exterior was a woman who had been hurt, yet remained resilient. After that conversation, the small moments between Alex and Emily gradually took on more significance. Alex no longer saw Emily as a temporary companion. He began to feel her importance in his life. Each passing day, he realized that her presence helped him reflect on what truly mattered. One evening, as they sat together on the couch, Alex noticed Emily reading a book about the art of living and finding life's meaning. Feeling curious, he asked her about it. Emily explained that the book helped her rediscover motivation and purpose after her difficult experiences. Life isn't just about power and success. Sometimes, it's about slowing down to appreciate it, Emily said. Her gaze distant, Alex quietly pondered her words. For the first time, he questioned if his life had been too focused on accumulating wealth and power, neglecting simpler, more meaningful things. Emily's presence felt like a refreshing breeze, bringing a newfound sense of peace and lightness to him. These shifts in his thinking gradually led Alex to show small, thoughtful gestures toward Emily. He began to care for her in more subtle ways. One day, noticing that Emily was busy with her personal project, Alex prepared a light meal and coffee to encourage her. Emily was surprised by Alex's newfound thoughtfulness. She accepted the meal without a word, offering only a smile as silent thanks. These gestures made her feel a subtle change in their relationship, as if an invisible bond was beginning to form between them. Another time, when Emily was exhausted after a long day of work, Alex cooked dinner and waited for her to come home. This touched Emily deeply, and she realized that beneath Alex's cold exterior was a man who could be warm and genuine when he truly wanted to be. Although she began to feel Alex's kindness, Emily remained uncertain. She had promised herself that this marriage was only temporary, and she didn't want to let herself get emotionally involved. However, Alex's small gestures made it hard for her to ignore that her heart was starting to waver. Emily found herself facing an inner conflict. On one hand, she wanted to stay committed to her initial decision and not let herself get drawn into this relationship. On the other hand, Alex's change and efforts made her feel he might deserve a chance to change. She wondered if she could open her heart to him or if she should maintain a safe distance. Gradually, Alex also noticed that Emily no longer kept her previous cold distance. Each time she responded to his kindness with a smile or a sincere thank you, Alex felt an unfamiliar sense of happiness. One night, seeing Emily working late on her personal project, Alex prepared a cup of hot tea and brought it to her. Emily, surprised, accepted the tea from him, feeling warmer with him by her side. For the first time, Alex felt he wasn't simply doing things to win or assert himself, but because he genuinely wanted Emily to feel cared for and happy. One late night, as they sat on the balcony overlooking the city lights, Alex unexpectedly asked Emily about the hardships she had endured when her company was taken over. At first, Emily hesitated, but eventually, she decided to open up. She shared her pain in watching the company she had worked so hard to build collapse. about the days of intense struggle trying to save what she had lost. She spoke of the sleepless nights, the feeling of failure, and the loneliness of not having anyone who truly understood her heartache. Alex listened quietly, without interruption. For the first time, he felt regret for what he had done and for the indirect pain he had caused Emily. This feeling was far from comfortable, but it was also a step toward recognizing that power and ambition could sometimes bring unintended harm. That late-night conversation marked a new beginning in their relationship. After sharing their thoughts, they both felt closer, gradually building mutual respect. Alex no longer saw Emily as a rival or a temporary companion, but as someone he could share aspirations, pains, and true feelings with. Emily, while still maintaining a certain distance, began to realize that Alex had changed. She no longer saw him as the cold, calculating man she had once despised, but as someone who could be sincere when he truly opened up. One day, while tidying up Alex's office, Emily accidentally came across an important document in one of the drawers. This document revealed details about a business project Alex had undertaken years ago, the very project that led to the downfall of Emily's company. A surge of anger and hurt washed over her as she realized that the man who had been slowly gaining her trust was the same man responsible for putting her in this situation. Emily tried to stay calm, but her mind was filled with unanswered questions. Why had Alex decided to invest in her company? Was everything he did just a part of some revenge scheme or merely a move in his power game? Alex, why did you do this? Did you know everything from the beginning? Emily asked herself. Overwhelmed with pain, she decided to keep quiet and not confront Alex immediately. Instead, she observed his behavior in the days that followed, hoping to understand his true motivations. Despite discovering this unsettling secret, Emily couldn't deny the positive changes she had seen in Alex recently. He was no longer the cold, ruthless man she once knew. Instead, he seemed more caring, willing to listen, and eager to share genuine values. However, Emily felt torn between two conflicting emotions. On one hand, suspicion and hurt over the past, and on the other, a growing closeness and empathy for the Alex she saw now. She was unsure if she could trust him again, but part of her hoped that he had truly changed. Maybe people can change, but can he really be different? Emily wondered. Her gaze reflective, unable to bear the inner turmoil any longer, Emily decided to confront Alex about the document she had found one evening. She wanted to hear the truth from him directly. Alex, I found a document about your old project, the one that caused my company to collapse, she began, her gaze steady but tinged with pain. Alex was momentarily taken aback by Emily's words. He realized it was time to face the past and take responsibility for his actions. After a moment of silence, Alex admitted that he had decided to invest in her company as part of his desire to expand his financial empire, without any regard for the consequences it would have on her. Emily, I was wrong. Back then, all I cared about was power and profit. I never thought about the people who would be affected, Alex confessed, his voice heavy with regret. Emily looked at Alex, her heart breaking as she realized that everything she had suspected was true. She felt deeply hurt, but could also sense the sincerity in his words. This was the first time he had truly admitted his mistakes and shown a genuine effort to make amends. This confrontation was not only a difficult moment, but also an opportunity for Alex and Emily to truly understand each other. Alex began to realize that to move forward, he needed Emily's forgiveness, and more importantly, he needed to change himself fundamentally. After listening to Alex's confession, Emily felt she could give him a chance to prove himself. Although hurt, she believed that forgiveness could free her from the pain and resentment that had haunted her. I'm not sure I can forget everything, but I can try to forgive you. But Alex, I need to see that you really want to change, Emily said, her gaze resolute. Alex felt a glimmer of hope within him. He knew that this was his only chance to prove he could become a better person. And this time, he was determined not to lose that opportunity. After their heartfelt conversation, Alex and Emily decided to start over as real friends. They set new principles for their relationship, hoping that by building on honesty and mutual respect, they could gradually restore the lost trust. Alex began engaging in charity projects and community activities to make amends for his past mistakes. He didn't do this solely to seek forgiveness from Emily, but to fundamentally transform himself. Emily witnessed his efforts, and slowly, she began to trust in his change. "I don't know if you can truly become a better person, but at least, I see that you're trying," Emily thought to herself, a glimmer of hope in her eyes. During this time, Alex and Emily began exploring activities they hadn't tried before. They attended art classes together, discovered new places, and even spent time talking about their personal interests. These activities helped them find common ground and created beautiful memories together. "I used to think power and success were everything. But now, I realize that these simple moments with you are what truly matter," Alex said, a warm smile on his face. Emily returned his smile, feeling that perhaps Alex was slowly becoming someone she could trust and maybe even open her heart to. Though they had both changed positively, a new challenge arose. One of Alex's business rivals suddenly appeared with an enticing offer, forcing him to choose between his career path or his relationship with Emily. Alex was faced with a difficult choice, whether to continue pursuing his career or uphold the new values he had built with Emily. He realized that this was his final chance to prove that he had truly changed and was ready to stand by the person he loved. After relentless efforts to change and make amends, Alex and Emily had gradually moved into a new phase of their relationship. However, just as their bond was deepening, an unexpected challenge emerged. A woman from Alex's past named Isabella, a successful businesswoman and his former lover, suddenly reappeared. With her charming appearance and confident demeanor, Isabella not only revived memories of Alex's past but also made Emily feel uneasy. Isabella quickly noticed Alex's transformation and was not pleased to see him turning into someone more thoughtful and considerate of Emily's feelings. Seeing Alex so connected with Emily, Isabella decided to approach him, hoping to lure him back to a life driven by power and ambition. "Alex, I see you're changing, but remember, it's power that truly brings success and the position you deserve," Isabella said persuasively, her gaze fixed on Alex. Faced with Isabella's return, Alex felt torn between his past and his present. On the one hand, Isabella reminded him of the days when he held power and success, things he once considered ultimate goals. On the other hand, his relationship with Emily had completely transformed his perspective on life. He began to realize that there were things far more valuable than power and money, and Emily's presence was proof of that. Emily sensed Alex's uncertainty and couldn't be sure of his feelings for her. Although she knew that Alex had changed, she couldn't help but worry about the bond between him and Isabella. Doubt and anxiety led Emily to question whether she should continue to trust the love Alex claimed to have for her. Feeling that her love might be threatened, Emily decided to have an honest conversation with Alex. She needed to know if his feelings for her were truly genuine and lasting or simply the result of temporary changes. Having endured so much pain, she didn't want to face an uncertain love again. "Alex, I need to know that I can trust you in what we've built. If you're still attached to the past, let me know," Emily said, her gaze sad yet resolute. Alex, understanding Emily's doubts, held her hand and tried to reassure her. "Emily, I know my past is complicated and has caused hurt, but I'm sure about what I feel for you. You're the reason I want to change," Alex responded, his voice sincere. Emily felt somewhat relieved but still had lingering anxiety. She understood that only time would reveal the truth and strengthen her trust in him. While Alex and Emily's relationship was at a fragile stage, Isabella proposed an enticing business venture to Alex, an opportunity that could bring him even greater fame and power. However, to participate in this project, Alex would have to devote all his time and energy, meaning he would have to be apart from Emily and risk hurting her once again. Alex faced a difficult decision, to either abandon this opportunity and stay with Emily or return to the powerful path he once pursued with Isabella. This was the ultimate test and also his chance to prove that his love for Emily was genuine and that he had changed entirely. "Emily, I could give up everything to be with you, but I need to know that this is the right thing to do," Alex said, his gaze filled with both worry and determination. Emily looked at Alex, feeling the sincerity in his every word. She understood that this was a defining moment, not only for Alex but for their future together. Finally, after days of contemplation, Alex decided to turn down Isabella's offer and walk away from the lucrative business venture. He realized that power and fame were no longer the most important things in his life. What he truly desired was a simple, peaceful life with Emily, the woman who had transformed him. When Alex informed Isabella of his decision, she could not hide her disappointment and deep resentment. She reminded Alex that he was giving up the chance to become more powerful and influential. But he simply smiled and replied, "Isabella, perhaps power isn't everything. I found something far more precious. A person who has taught me how to love and understand the true meaning of life," Alex said, his gaze unwavering. Isabella understood that she had lost him forever and quietly left. After choosing love over power, Alex began rebuilding his life with Emily, no longer chasing lofty dreams but focusing on simpler values. Together, they made plans for the future. From participating in community projects to traveling and discovering new places, Emily felt secure and happier, knowing that Alex was ready to commit to her and let go of his glamorous yet hollow past. They cherished peaceful, genuine moments together, realizing that happiness didn't have to come with power or fame. "You know, Emily, I've never felt this peaceful before," Alex confessed one warm afternoon. Emily smiled, holding Alex's hand tightly, feeling that finally, they had truly found their place together. After facing and overcoming their final challenges, Alex realized that to build a happy future with Emily, he needed to fully leave behind the past and unnecessary ambitions. One morning, he decided to close certain chapters of his life for good. He stopped pursuing overly ambitious business ventures and started seeking ways to contribute to the community, with a desire for his actions to be more meaningful than just profit. Alex also made a decision to reach out to former business partners to apologize and make amends for the mistakes he'd made in the past. This was not only the beginning of his journey toward redemption, but also a way to show Emily that he was genuinely committed to change and ready to take responsibility for his actions. Emily felt moved seeing Alex's sincere regret and his transformation into a better man. She realized that he wasn't just doing this to keep her by his side, but because he truly wanted to be a better person. After all they had been through, Alex and Emily understood that, to truly be happy together, they needed to heal from their past wounds together. They started attending couples counseling sessions, where they could openly share their feelings and understand each other better. During these sessions, Emily had the chance to express the pain Alex had caused her, while Alex had the opportunity to apologize, make amends, and truly understand her emotions. The journey wasn't easy, but they both were determined to make it work. Emily gradually felt a sense of relief as she saw that Alex was not only acknowledging his mistakes, but also genuinely trying to change for her. With each session, they grew closer, and their understanding and love deepened. "Alex, I may never fully forget the hurt, but I'm ready to forgive," Emily said, her gaze filled with warmth. Alex felt a profound sense of happiness and gratitude for this second chance. He realized that love wasn't just about happiness in the moment, but also about patience, forgiveness, and commitment to overcoming challenges together. As the healing process continued, Alex and Emily began creating new memories together. They decided to take time for short trips to explore the world, experience new things, and enjoy life. During these journeys, they learned to slow down, savor each moment with one another, and let go of the past. They participated in various fun activities, such as hiking, kayaking, and even learning to cook different cuisines. These joyful, simple moments helped them see that happiness didn't need to come from grand gestures, but could be found in the little things they shared. Emily felt happier than ever seeing how much Alex had truly changed, becoming a man who valued and cherished her. She realized that giving him a second chance had been well worth it. One of the next big milestones in their relationship was the decision to build their own home together. Alex had planned and designed a cozy house on the outskirts of the city, a place where they could start a new life, away from the noise and temptations of the city. The house was designed to be close to nature, with lush gardens and open spaces to let in natural light. Alex and Emily decorated each corner together, each detail in the house carrying a personal touch from both of them. They planted trees, designed the garden, and created a meaningful living space. "Emily, this house represents a new beginning, a place where we can build and cherish our life together," Alex said, his eyes reflecting his happiness. Emily felt that the house was not just a place to live, but a testament to their journey of transformation and growth. It was a space where they would create new memories and look forward to a future together. After settling into their new life, Alex and Emily began thinking about expanding their family. Both dreamed of having a small family where they could impart positive values and unconditional love to the next generation. Starting a family was not only a new responsibility, but also an opportunity to grow together and discover new joys in life. Alex felt that he was no longer a man solely focused on power and wealth, but had become a husband and father he could be proud of. Emily also felt that their journey of love and forgiveness had made her stronger, and she wanted to raise their children with the love and understanding she and Alex had learned together. "I think we'll be great parents. Emily, we'll teach our children that true value in life doesn't lie in money or power, but in love and respect for one another," Alex said confidently. Smiling, Emily felt warmth and knew they were about to embark on a new chapter, one filled with meaningful experiences they would share together. The section concludes with Alex and Emily standing hand in front of their home, looking towards the future with hope and faith. They had overcome many challenges, faced painful memories, and found strength in love and forgiveness. For Alex, the journey was not just about proving his change, but about discovering life's true value. He understood that love was the foundation that helped him overcome every hardship and motivated him to become a better person. Emily, who had once faced so much pain and doubt, now felt peace and happiness knowing that Alex had become a man she could rely on and trust. She believed that no matter what challenges awaited them, they would overcome them together with the love and understanding they had built. "This journey hasn't been easy, but I'll never regret choosing you, Emily," Alex said, holding her hand tightly. "Neither do I." "Alex, thank you for being here, for everything," Emily replied, her eyes sparkling with happiness. They stepped into their home together, ready to embrace a new future where love, trust, and genuine values would be the foundation for everything. One quiet evening, Alex and Emily sat together in their cozy living room, surrounded by the warmth of their home. The soft yellow lights illuminated Emily's face, making her eyes seem even deeper and more mysterious. They had been through so much together, from initial hostility to gradually growing closer. Yet, Alex sensed a lingering distance between them, a barrier that Emily seemed unwilling to break. Deciding to broach the subject, Alex spoke up. "Emily, is there something you haven't told me? I've always felt like you're holding on to a pain that I can't quite reach." Emily closed her eyes briefly as if gathering her strength to finally open up. She began to share the difficult years of pain and hardship she endured after Alex took over her company. Emily recounted the time when she was a driven businesswoman, dedicated to her company and to those who relied on her. When Alex appeared, she initially saw him as a promising business partner, but everything changed when he ruthlessly decided to acquire her company. She lost not only her business but also her confidence, her reputation, and her sense of self-worth. "You may see it as just a business deal, Alex, but for me, it was my entire life. I had to pick up the pieces alone, facing the whispers and pitying looks from those who thought I had failed," Emily said, her voice tinged with emotion. Alex listened in silence, fully realizing the depth of the pain he had once so casually inflicted on her. Emily continued to describe the difficult days after she lost her company. She had fallen into despair, but slowly regained her strength and resolved not to let this setback define her. In the midst of her struggle to survive, the thought of revenge became her drive to push through. "I told myself that one day, you would pay for what you did," Emily admitted, her gaze steely and proud. She explained that when Alex proposed marriage, she saw it as her opportunity to exact her long-awaited revenge. Her intent wasn't to love or grow close to him, but to make him experience the same loss and pain she had endured. Alex was stunned by Emily's revelation. He hadn't imagined that his actions could have caused her such immense suffering. To him, acquiring her company was merely another victory in the business world, with no thought to the personal toll it would have on others like Emily. "Emily, I never realized the harm I caused. I am truly sorry," Alex said, his voice thick with emotion. In that moment, Alex felt a deep regret rising within him. He realized that he wanted to change not only to make amends, but because he genuinely cared about Emily and didn't want her to suffer any longer. Emily looked at Alex, sensing the sincerity in his eyes. Though anger still lingered in her heart, she acknowledged that Alex had genuinely changed and was willing to take responsibility for his past actions. This newfound understanding compelled Emily to consider forgiveness, not just to release herself from bitterness, but also to create a fresh start. "Forgiving you isn't easy, Alex, but I'll try, not for you, but for my own peace," Emily said softly, her gaze softening. This marked a turning point in their relationship. Alex knew that to earn Emily's genuine love, he needed to prove his transformation through actions, not words. From that night on, Alex began making amends. He stepped away from personal ambitions and focused on supporting charitable organizations and helping those less fortunate. Every small act he made was to prove to Emily that he had changed and would never return to his old, selfish ways. Emily observed his every move, and though she didn't express it openly, she felt a growing sense of comfort and trust in his sincerity. His relentless efforts gradually reached her heart. Over time, Alex's sincerity and efforts slowly melted the invisible wall between him and Emily. They were no longer rivals or strangers. They genuinely began to find harmony and understanding within each other. They decided to give each other a real chance, not out of hatred or obligation, but because they had truly found love. "Emily, I can't change the past, but I promise never to hurt you again," Alex said. Holding her hand tightly, Emily responded with a gentle smile. She knew the road ahead might still have challenges, but she was ready to build a new future with Alex based on trust and genuine love. After all the storms and heartaches, Alex and Emily finally built a solid foundation of love, free from the barriers of resentment and revenge. Their 6-month marriage, which began as a game and a bet, had transformed into a journey of change, true love, and forgiveness. Alex and Emily decided to embark on a new life together, no longer as strangers but as true life partners. They realized that it was the challenges and the pain they had endured that allowed them to find the true meaning of love. A love built on empathy, sacrifice, and growth. Life isn't perfect, but maybe we found something truly perfect in our own imperfections, Emily said, looking lovingly at Alex. Alex smiled back, knowing that from now on, he would cherish every moment with Emily and never repeat the mistakes of his past. Alex and Emily's story offers profound lessons about love and forgiveness. It reminds us that, no matter how difficult the challenges we face, love and patience have the power to heal and transform us. Alex learned that it wasn't power or wealth that mattered, but genuine sincerity, and Emily found that forgiveness could bring peace and open doors to new beginnings. Their story also serves as a reminder that sometimes the people we think are incapable of change can become those we love the most. And often, it's only when we confront the deepest wounds in our hearts that we find the true values in life. And so, Alex and Emily's story comes to an end. From a meaningless bet, they found true love and rebuilt their lives on a foundation of sincerity and forgiveness. Their journey is not just about Alex and Emily. It's about the universal search for the true meaning of love and life. What do you think of their story? Would you be willing to forgive someone who once hurt you if they truly changed? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to hit like if you found this story meaningful, and help spread the message of love and forgiveness. Also, subscribe to our channel to not miss out on more touching and inspirational stories. Thank you for watching until the end. We hope you find true love and happiness in your own life.